What if I told you that the person who ghosted you saved your future? That being ignored at work is the best career move you'll ever experience? That the most painful rejections are actually divine protection? You wouldn't believe it. Not at first. But today, I'm going to show you why the moments that hurt the most, the silence, the betrayal, the being overlooked, are often exactly what you needed. We're diving deep into one of the most misunderstood powers you hold, your ability to turn rejection into fuel. This isn't feel-good talk. This is Stoic warfare. We'll uncover 13 real-world strategies inspired by Marcus Aurelius and the ancient Stoics, tools that will help you turn every no into momentum. And here's the catch. You don't need them to acknowledge you. You don't even need them to apologize. You just need to flip the script. If you've ever been left on read, passed over, ignored, or made to feel like you don't matter, this isn't just for you. This is your turning point. Let's begin. Lesson 1. Ignore them, rise anyway. When someone shuts you out, your instinct may scream, "What did I do wrong?" But that's the trap. It's not always about you. In fact, it's usually not about you at all. You could be kind. You could be brilliant. You could be thoughtful, intentional, respectful, and they still might not see you. That's their lens, not your truth. So what do? You don't chase. You don't explain. You don't beg. You ignore. Not out of spite, but out of power. Ignoring those who ignore you isn't petty. It's a bold declaration. I don't need your attention to validate my existence. Think about it. If someone looks away from the sun, does the sun stop shining? No, and neither should you. Ignoring isn't about building walls. It's about building boundaries. It's about redirecting your energy away from the void and into your purpose. Fill your life with books that challenge you, conversations that expand you, and work that ignites you. Don't ask why they didn't choose you. Choose yourself again and again. Does it hurt? Of course. But pain is fuel. Use it. Let it sharpen your focus. Let it fortify your resolve. Because you're not here to be tolerated. You're here to thrive. Let their silence bounce off your fortress of self-worth. Let your resilience echo louder than their rejection. This is not about revenge. It's about rising unbothered. Lesson 2. Don't react emotionally. Rejection hurts. It pokes at something deep, something ancient. Our desire to be accepted, welcomed, chosen. When someone turns away from us, our mind races. Why did they do that? What did I do wrong? Should I confront them? Should I explain? This whirlwind of questions pulls us into reaction. But here's what the Stoics teach. You don't have to react. You can choose to respond. And those are not the same thing. Reacting is instant. It's emotional. It's raw. Responding is intentional, grounded, wise. Someone brushes past you in a hallway. A friend suddenly grows cold. A colleague talks over your idea in a meeting. It's so easy to lash out or spiral inward. But that's when you pause, breathe, and remember, their action is not your identity. You are not the silence they gave you. You are the space you hold inside. Here's a secret weapon: stillness. When you pause, when you take one breath before responding, you take back control. You shift from being a character in someone else's script to becoming the author of your own. Instead of flaring up or withdrawing, ask, why is this bothering me? Is it their rejection, or is it the story I'm telling myself about it? Often, we're not hurt by what happened, but by the interpretation we create. They didn't respond. Maybe they're distracted. Maybe they're dealing with something. Or maybe they simply don't value this connection as much. And that's okay. Your value doesn't change based on how someone treats you. It's steady, solid, rooted in who you are, not in how others see you. So the next time you feel that sting of rejection rising in your chest, do this. Don't react, reflect, and choose your response like a master, not a victim. This isn't being passive, it's being powerful. And every time you respond with clarity instead of chaos, you rewrite your story. You become untouchable, not because you don't feel, but because you don't let feelings drive the wheel. Lesson 3, remove them from your mind. Some people leave your life quietly. Others leave a mess, but many stay, not physically, but mentally. They linger in your thoughts. Their silence plays on loop. Their rejection becomes a constant echo in your mind. And that's where your power lies, in deciding who gets to live in your mental space. Detachment isn't forgetting. It's choosing not to carry the weight any longer. You can acknowledge what happened, feel it fully, without letting it anchor your spirit. Think of your mind like a sacred home. Would you let someone who disrespected you linger in your living room? Then why let them live in your head? Start by noticing when your thoughts drift back to them, to that message left unread, that moment they ignored you, that opportunity that never arrived, and say, I release this. Not because it didn't matter, but because I matter more. Replace their presence with purpose. Dive into a book, move your body, volunteer, learn something new. These aren't just distractions. They are acts of healing. Every new experience reshapes you. Every new moment you choose yourself over them is a step toward wholeness. Rejection can feel like an ending, but it's often an opening. It clears the clutter. It forces you to focus on who and what deserves your energy. Surround yourself with people who nourish your spirit. Seek spaces where you're valued, not questioned, where you're encouraged, not ignored. Because detaching doesn't mean building walls, it means redirecting the light inward. So remove them, gently, lovingly, firmly. Clear the mental space so your future has room to grow. Lesson 4. Demonstrate your value. They didn't see what you brought to the table. They overlooked your efforts, dismissed your presence, ignored your contribution. Now what? You show them, but not with your words, with your actions. Don't tell them what they missed. Let your life make it obvious. The next time you're skipped in a meeting, passed over for an opportunity, or brushed aside in a social space, don't spiral. Stand taller. Refocus. That bitterness you feel, it's energy, and you can channel it. Pour it into something that lights you up. Take on a project. Build something real. Create something excellent. Let your work speak volumes, so loud they can't help but notice. You're not doing this for revenge. You're doing it because you are worth developing. You don't need applause to know your worth. You need movement, momentum, mastery. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what's in our control. You can't control who recognizes your value, but you can control how you express it. So express it, not to prove them wrong, but to prove to yourself you were always right about you. And as you rise, something magical happens. You stop waiting for validation. You become your own confirmation. You realize they didn't see your worth? That's fine. You saw it. You developed it. You delivered it. Let your life be the evidence. Let your results speak. Let your growth whisper louder than their silence. And when the spotlight does find you again, if it ever does, you won't need it because you already built the light within. Lesson 5. Silence isn't weakness, it's wisdom. When you've been ignored, rejected, or cast aside, the first instinct is often to close the gap, to reach out, to fix it, to ask why, to get clarity. But what if the most powerful move is no move at all? There is strength in silence. It is not about passive aggression or emotional withdrawal. It's about clearing space so you can reclaim your peace. When you choose to go silent, you're not playing games. You're setting boundaries. You're saying, I value my sanity too much to stay entangled in confusion. In a world that tells you to speak louder, chase harder, and fight to be seen, Stoicism whispers something different. Walk away and watch yourself heal. Sometimes silence is louder than 1,000 words. It says, I will not force a place in someone's life. I do not beg for recognition. I choose me. Cutting off contact doesn't mean you hate them. It doesn't mean you want revenge. It simply means you're choosing to stop pouring into a void. It's a strategic retreat, not from the person, but from the pain. When you stop reaching out, when you no longer seek closure, you create space. And in that space, something else rises. Clarity, dignity, self-respect. You learn that the people meant for you don't need chasing. And those who walk away are not doors closing. They're exits to peace. Let them go. Let the silence speak. And let yourself begin again. Lesson 6. Prove them wrong without saying a word. Rejection can either define you or drive you. Someone didn't believe in your ability. They called you unreliable, too sensitive, too much, not enough. Now you have a choice: to spend your life explaining yourself, or to build a life so powerful it does the talking for you. This lesson is not about revenge. It's about evolution. You're not here to get back at anyone. You're here to rise. Not out of spite, but out of purpose. Let rejection become your fuel. Let doubt become your blueprint. Let every dismissive look, every cold shoulder, every "you're not good enough" become bricks in the foundation of your resilience. Want to know the best response to someone who didn't believe in you? Become someone so grounded, so focused, so mastery driven that you stop caring what they think at all. You don't need to show them. You don't need to convince them. You only need to prove it to yourself. Become so skilled that success becomes your silence, so centered that growth becomes your statement. Let your wins whisper. Let your actions echo. Let your life say, "I became exactly who I was meant to be." This is the power of Stoic transformation. Not loud, but lasting. Not emotional revenge, but emotional freedom. Your best "I told you so" is a life lived fully without their opinion ever mattering again. Lesson 7. Go out and have fun. Joy isn't a luxury. It's a strategy. When you're rejected, ignored, or sidelined, your natural instinct is to withdraw, to retreat, to hide behind the pain. But what if the antidote isn't reflection, but redirection? What if your next move should be joy, not fake smiles or forced laughter? Real soul-filling joy, the kind that comes from living, not just surviving. Here's the truth. When life shuts a door, don't sit in front of it. Go out, breathe, dance, laugh, live. Don't wait for permission to feel good again. You don't need closure to start celebrating your existence. Try something new. Learn a language. Go to a cafe alone. Visit a place you've never been. Call someone who lifts your energy. Not because you're trying to move on, but because you deserve a life that moves. Fun isn't escapism. It's empowerment. It reminds you that you are alive, that rejection isn't the end of your story. In fact, it might be the chapter where you finally reclaim the pen. You are not your pain. You are not their silence. You are not that unanswered message or unreturned glance. You are possibility. And joy helps you remember that. So don't stay inside your sorrow. Step out, stretch, smile, and let your joy become "I still choose me." Lesson 8. Build your social status without chasing anyone. Imagine walking into a room and feeling invisible. People glance past you. Your presence doesn't spark interest. Your contributions feel ignored. It stings. It frustrates. But what if that invisibility is your superpower in disguise? Stoicism doesn't teach us to beg for attention. It teaches us to build our own center of gravity. Instead of focusing on being seen, focus on becoming someone worth knowing. And you do that by investing in you. You want to build social status? Start by building yourself. Read more. Train your body. Elevate your thinking. Explore hobbies that fascinate you. Engage with communities that inspire you. You don't have to be loud. You have to be real, consistent, grounded, capable. Let people discover your value by how you carry yourself, not by how you try to impress. True social presence isn't built in a day. It's built in habits. You want to walk into a room and feel respected? Make that respect begin at home. How do you speak to yourself when no one's watching? How do you show up when no one's applauding? That's where status begins. And over time, your energy changes. People feel it. They gravitate to it. Not because you're shouting, but because your silence says something. And when you do speak, they listen. So don't chase attention. Chase excellence. The spotlight will follow when your substance becomes undeniable. Lesson 9. Act as if they don't exist. The strongest response is often no response. When someone ignores you, dismisses you, or talks over you, the urge to win them back can be overwhelming. You want to explain, you want to prove, you want to be acknowledged. But here's the shift. You don't need to be acknowledged by someone who chose not to see you. You need to acknowledge yourself. You don't need to react. You don't need to plead. You don't need to re-engage. Just keep living, keep growing, keep being. When someone treats you as irrelevant, let them. You don't need to participate in their blindness. In a social setting, talk to people who want to hear you. Smile at those who smile back. Engage with those who show respect. Why spend energy on someone committed to misunderstanding you? Let their silence echo into emptiness, while your joy fills the space with light. And when you do have to interact, keep it simple, professional, brief, boundaried. No emotional depth, no seeking approval, no attempts to reconnect. This isn't cruelty, it's clarity. It's you saying, I choose to spend my life on what nourishes me. And when you live this way, something beautiful happens. You stop waiting for them to notice because you realize you were never meant to be their mirror. You were always your own sun. Let them fade into the background. You're just getting started. Lesson 10. Give them the silent treatment. Silence isn't a weapon, it's a window. When someone gives you indifference, you might feel the urge to respond, to shake them emotionally, to demand a reaction. But in Stoicism, silence isn't manipulation, it's self-preservation. When you stay quiet, you're not closing off. You're listening inward. You're pausing to reflect, not retaliate. You're saying, I don't need to be heard to know my truth. Silence is where you return to yourself, where your emotions settle, where clarity rises. It's not about punishing them. It's about protecting you. When someone makes you feel small through silence, match it, not with anger, but with calm distance. Let that silence be your sacred space, to breathe, to ground, to decide what you truly want beyond ego. And here's the secret. Silence often speaks louder than words. It says, I'm not going to fight for a place in your story. I'm writing my own. Silence doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're in control. You're no longer reacting. You're responding with presence, with poise, with power. And in that space of restraint, your self-worth becomes untouchable. You don't need to explain why you're not replying. Your peace is the explanation. So next time you're tempted to send one more message, say one more thing, try silence instead. And let that silence remind you, you don't have to chase anything that doesn't recognize your value. Lesson 11. Don't beg for attention. Never dim your dignity to fit into someone else's focus. Rejection can feel like a spotlight turning off. Suddenly you're in the dark, and your reflex is to shout, look at me, don't forget me, was I not enough? But what if the answer isn't to shout louder? What if it's to stand quietly in your light? Stoicism teaches us that validation is internal. It doesn't come from applause. It comes from alignment. Begging for attention is a trap. It says, I only matter when you see me. That is not truth. That is dependency. Here's a shift. Instead of trying to get their attention, focus on your intention. What do you love doing? What gives your day meaning? What makes your eyes light up? That's what deserves your energy, not the cold silence of someone who chose to look away. Build your life so rich, so full, so alive, that anyone who overlooks it simply missed a miracle. This isn't arrogance. It's acknowledgement that you don't have to prove your existence to be worthy of it. Stop performing for someone else's gaze. Start becoming who you were always meant to be. And as you do, the right people notice. But even if they don't, you do. And that's enough. Begging says, please include me. Dignity says, I already belong to myself. Choose dignity every time. Lesson 12. Be kind, but emotionally distant. Kindness is a strength, but only when rooted in self-respect. When someone ignores you, it's natural to feel a wave of pain. The temptation is to react, to either withdraw completely or overextend yourself in the name of appearing gracious. But Stoicism offers a third way. Balance. You don't need to be rude. You don't need to lash out. You simply need to stand tall and set boundaries. Be kind, but don't bleed. You can offer a smile without offering your soul. You can say hello without saying, I still need your approval. This is not coldness. It's clarity. It's the understanding that kindness loses power when it comes from desperation. True strength is this, when you can wish someone well while walking away with your peace intact. Be warm. Be civil. But let your emotional doors remain closed to those who've shown they don't value them. That's not cruelty. That's maturity. Emotional distance is not punishment. It's self-preservation. It's what allows you to engage with others while still protecting the most sacred parts of yourself. So next time you're in the presence of someone who once ignored you, be kind, be brief, be unbothered. Because when you master the art of being kind without clinging, you become unshakable. And unshakable is who you were always meant to be. Lesson 13. Don't reveal your struggle. Your pain is real, but it doesn't need to be public. There's a common belief that if we show others how much we're hurting, they'll understand, they'll care, they'll come back. But more often than not, That vulnerability is met not with compassion, but with silence, or worse, indifference. So here's the shift. Learn to sit with your struggle without putting it on display. This doesn't mean you hide your emotions. It means you honor them privately. Your pain is sacred. Treat it that way. Not everyone deserves front row seats to your healing. And truthfully, many don't even notice you're bleeding. So why perform? Why prove that you're hurt? You're allowed to feel. You're allowed to process. But do it in a way that builds you, not one that begs for pity. When you walk into the world with your head high, even when you're broken, that's not pretending. That's power. That's you saying, yes, I'm struggling, but I'm still showing up. You don't need to justify your silence. You don't need to narrate your healing. Let your growth happen in quiet. Let your strength rebuild in stillness. And one day they'll look again and see someone transformed, but by then their gaze won't matter because your validation no longer lives outside of you. It's home, inside, always. Conclusion. Rejection is your beginning, not your end. We've walked through 13 powerful lessons together, each one pulled from the depths of Stoic philosophy, reshaped for the modern world. Each one crafted not to give you answers, but to reveal your strength. Now pause. Look back at what you've just absorbed. This isn't just information, it's transformation if you choose to apply it. Rejection, indifference, dismissal, ghosting. All these painful moments can become your catalysts. Not because they're easy, but because you are stronger than you ever knew. You've learned to ignore without bitterness, to respond instead of react, to walk away without anger, to build without being seen, to heal without being held, and most of all, to belong to yourself before seeking anyone else's embrace. That's what Stoicism offers. Not the absence of pain, but the presence of power within pain. You now know silence can be strength, distance can be dignity, solitude can be sovereignty. You've seen how to reclaim energy, redirect attention, rebuild peace. You've tasted what it means to be emotionally independent. And that's freedom. Rejection no longer defines you. You define how you rise from it. So the next time someone ignores your message, your presence, your effort, pause, breathe, and say inwardly, I see me, I hear me, I choose me. Because the moment you stop seeking what doesn't see you is the moment you start becoming undeniable. Let this be the moment you no longer beg for entry, but build the room yourself. Let this be the moment you stop rehearsing pain and start performing power. Let this be the moment you stop shrinking and finally fully occupy your own life. You don't need closure. You don't need revenge. You don't even need them to know they hurt you. You need one thing, to stand, and you just did. You stood through 13 rejections and turned them into revelations. That is the Stoic way. That is your way now. If this resonated, if even one lesson pierced through the fog, take it with you. Live it. Share it. Don't just be inspired. Become unmovable. And if you've made it this far, drop a comment below with the words, strength in adversity. So I know you stood tall through every word. Like, subscribe, not for me, but for you. To keep surrounding yourself with content that reflects who you're becoming. This isn't goodbye. It's the beginning. To your next chapter, your next test, your next rise. To the you that rejection couldn't stop. Stay grounded. Stay powerful. Stay stoic.